This meeting started. It's Monday, regular council meeting, Monday, March 18th. Pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. Got a good crowd. Roll call, please.
Mayor Laughlin.
Here.
Councilperson Ellison.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Goodweiler.
Here.
Stolman.
Here.
Pierce, absent.
All right, we're going to start out with Impact 7G, Doug Onge of an environmental planner. We'll talk about our Kroll Ready Mix site, well, former Kroll site and redevelopment. So go ahead, it's all yours.
Yeah, go ahead. Any intro or anything, or should we just jump in? Yeah.
All right.
Tell each of us who you are.
All right. Well, I'm Michael LeClaire with Martin Gardner Architecture, sub-consultant to Impact 7G.
Doug Onge with Impact 7G.
And I'm Mike Fisher with Impact
Mike,
7G.
okay.
And this particular project emanated out of East Central Intergovernmental Association in terms of some of the funding they brought to assist communities
Yes.
with brownfields planning.
We appreciate that very much. Go ahead.
Well, today I have kind of our final draft of the report to give to you guys. In front of you, you all have the body of the report, which is just the write-up. I will note the copy in front of Redmond and the copy I have here is the full report. A lot of it has exhibits for a potential developer to refer to, including the original nomination for the historic district downtown, as well as their extensions, surrounding properties, information from the assessor's website, and then other reference documents for them. So the full document's a little fatter, but the write-up about what we did and the community input is kind of in that section you guys have in front of you. Before I go through the parts, though, I kind of want to show you guys how to navigate the document and how to use the parts for potential RFPs and RFQs. So when you do open the digital copy here, it's set up to where it'll open and display at the right scale. But if you'll notice over here, we basically have bookmarks to where each section is tabbed, and instead of going through every single page, you can just click through and it'll take you, hold on, let me change my view here. It'll take you to each section. Sorry guys, 1 second. Okay, so instead of, like I said, scrolling through each, you can just go through each section or chapter just by clicking on these bookmarks for quick navigation. And then, you know, when it gets to the exhibits, all down there. And then it ends with just an index here of different figures and exhibits within the document. And you can zoom in and it shows the pages. So that's a quick way just to navigate the document in regards to the digital copy. But I also wanted to show you guys this folder here, which I've handed over to Redmond. So this is just the parent folder. Within this, it has the summarized just body of the report here. What we were just looking at, the full report is here. The exhibits themselves are separately saved here, so each of those are easy to find just as individual documents. But then what I wanted to show you guys here too is, oops, 1 second, let me go back. So it's document. All of the images used in the report are individually saved. So if there's a particular image you guys want to use for a future RFP, or there's one particular image you want to print for whatever reason, you can go into this folder and access those rather than try to scan and use a scan from a printed copy. So all of the images within the report are individually saved there.
Thank you.
So that should be just kind of an easy way to use it. Knowing what's there too, because this digital file will kind of be shared around. But we have the parent folder here, and then all the different pieces within it. Any questions about that before I just dive into the report? Let me open that back up.
So people can find this on our website, you suppose?
Yeah, you can
Right.
put it on the website because it's just a PDF. So
Okay.
all of this formatting will save as the file's transferred or whatever, and you can put it up to download. Also, still on this computer, it's not in the report because you can't play a video in the report, but all those videos from the previous meetings are on this computer here still as well. If you guys need me to resend those or whatever, I can resend those, but you know, those are something you can use to advertise as well. So I don't have to go into each bit in much depth. I kind of want to be somewhat brief and address some of the main concerns from the previous meeting. But we go just kind of introduction, background of the report, how it was funded, how it started, purpose of the report, just kind of basic background. This section 4 just outlines the planning process and what all is involved. Just talks about distributing flyers, having the public charrette, lists the attendance from the charrette, and then section 5 kind of summarizes the findings of the charrette, but doesn't go into the design quite yet. So it just analyzes some of the findings, talks about the visual preferencing exercises, the different rankings. This is all stuff we went over previous meetings, but it's all kind of here in section 5. And section 6 is where we actually get in to the different designs. Not much has changed, but we have elaborated on some of these to address some of the concerns. And as I, whoops, what did I click there? As I scroll through here, I want to draw your attention to this section, which I'm going to try and make full screen here. Just give me 1 second. What are we doing here? Now, why my full screen won't show both of these? I don't know. Might have. Oh, this works. So parking was kind of our the big concern, and density was some of the bigger concerns that came up from the last meeting. And I'll address both of those briefly. Density, we didn't necessarily downscale density, but we talked in the body of the report about downscaling density or phasing it. You know, it's very possible, you know, one of the building masses may never be built. It might be that the first building mass is built and it takes 5, 6, 10 years to build the next building mass. So we really want to design for worst case scenario and then scale back from that. So even though what we have seen previously is a little dense than is desirable today, it's more difficult to realize after the fact that you didn't plan for enough density and then try and squeeze it in. So it's much more easy to be like, let's limit this building mass to 2 stories instead of 3. Let's omit, you know, phase 3 or something. But that way all of those scenarios are planned out and accounted for and can be phased through time. So that's kind of what these describe. And then Parking was the other concern. I did just want to point this out. This wouldn't be the only parking, but these are areas in the floodplain that we discussed where new construction cannot occur, which makes it ideal to utilize them to some degree for parking. And just in comparison to volume, this square down here, to scale of this map, is the amount of parking at like a Walmart Supercenter or Target Supercenter. So we have plenty of volume, but we also want to include it within the site to some degree to people with disabilities aren't going to want to park far away. Maybe people with several kids they need to keep in tow. What about deliveries? So this is kind of where we've taken both schemes and walked through the different phases and showed you where parking can be accommodated within the site. We did say that we don't necessarily want to use fourth here, but we do have single family residential, so I think at least acknowledging that in some of these townhouses or some of these individual condos that residents probably would want to use some of that, but we do have spaces in between them. So first phase, we want to focus on adding some residential and then adding some commercial along Main Street. Well, that allows parking back here to service that, and there's spaces in between each townhome that can be used for those residents parking. Phase two, and both schemes, kind of the phases follow each other with minor differences. But phase two, you kind of fill in more of the center of the site, and in front of the grain bins here can be used for phase two parking. As these streets and access ways get put in, we can do parallel parking or parallel angled parking alongside those, still with plenty of room for a sidewalk and a bikeway as well. And then say all three phases get developed. The third phase would be to do a building in here, and then still we have all of this parking within the site in addition to any that we might locate within the floodplain. One thing it does caution is, although we necessarily need to accommodate parking, it's in the best interests of accommodating parking. We don't want the development to be vehicular dominant. Obviously, you need to accommodate vehicles. That's why there's roadways in there, but we want it to be pedestrian dominant so that it extends downtown and isn't like sticking a Walmart right beside your downtown. So that's kind of how we address the parking. And then this is kind of walks everyone through the development. This is all stuff council has seen before, but I'll quickly go through it for anyone in the audience that might not have seen this. So we started, I'll kind of back up for folks that haven't seen any of this before. So we started with this chip game where during the charrette, 3 teams broke out, and they were given a base map and these different chips, which I think I have a sample of them over here. So they were given that blank map basically here, a context map where it was just zoomed out so they could kind of see, and then these various chips that have different amenities, different types of businesses, different types of features, and each team literally placed what they wanted to see on the site on the map. So this actually became our basis of design. This was team 1, this was team 2, this was team 3, and this is all of them mishmashed together. So you can see the desire of the citizens was pretty consistent. That's how we kind of came up with this bubble diagram to guide the design. And then we noted important axes, barriers, view sheds that need to be maintained. And from that, let me get through here, kind of sketched out 2 different schemes and then started testing those in 3D and looking at pros and cons, looking at views that we want maintained, and developing those out, and each scheme kind of ends up with a summary of square footage for commercial, residential. And then it goes into more of a detailed experiential rendering. And these are what video fly-throughs were provided last meeting that has been handed over. And so each map is keyed ABCD with different views, and then corresponding with ABCD, the different views per the map. That's the second scheme. That's it developed and tested in 3D. And then brought to more experiential views through them. That's pretty much it. Like I said, I don't necessarily need to go through all of this. I will summarize quickly what we do have for exhibits. The exhibits are just to serve as guides for any potential developer. Basically, it gives them a little bit of a head start so they're not having to do research when deciding to tackle this project or if they want to tackle the project. The first one is just the 2017 market studies and strategies, as well as the executive summary. So they have that to reference. The second exhibit is just any applicable assessor's reports for adjacent properties or neighboring properties for them to reference. The historic district nomination forms for downtown, and then that was extended twice. So both of those extensions are there. And then we get into historic preservation briefs. So these are documents from the Secretary of Interior that kind of lays out best practices for dealing with preservation. So there's different ones that might be applicable for a developer to reference. This one's regulating new construction in historic districts, which granted we're outside of the historic district, but we're adjacent to it. So it's a good thing to reference, even though we're not building within a district. New exterior additions to historic buildings. We're not adding on to any buildings, but again, things like this say you don't necessarily want new construction to look exactly like old construction. It should be complementary, but the Secretary of Interior basically says it kind of distorts the timeline. They like to see the original building and anything new be complementary, but not confuse when that new thing was built. They want it to be distinct, basically. And then there are some exhibits here that aren't necessarily specific to this location, but they're good references on how other communities have handled infill construction or infill development within historic districts. So that's what the last two exhibits are. I think one's from Philadelphia and one's from Portland, Oregon. And then the last is just the index of all the figures that are presented within the report and their page numbers, and then the exhibits as well. Can I answer any questions? Any comments?
Very good work. You worked really hard. I mean, this is just what we're looking for. Where we go from here, we got some tough questions to ask ourselves. How we're going to go about it. I don't know, maybe we have answered. We got to talk.
We got some approaches.
Yeah.
This will give you a leg up at least, and then like I said, all these digital files are on this computer, as well as some of those videos that I've shown. They're right on the desktop, but Redmond also has a thumb drive that has all of them on there as well. So, and then if anything gets misplaced, you can always reach out and we can just send you a link to download them as well. So.
Okay. What's your experience in our next step? What would you? We need an RFP, I believe, is what we need to do next. Get an RFP out and get it out to potential developers. I mean, that's what the purpose of this was. This
Right.
is done now.
Yep.
So this is part of the RFP, or we can pick and choose what we want from it.
I would say pick and choose, put an RFP together, but within that RFP, perhaps provide a link to this document.
absolutely.
You know, so, you know, people can see a few pictures, get the general idea, and then if they want to, you know, research it more, go in more depth, they can download the document, read through it.
This has public input.
Yeah.
This has public
Yep.
input
So,
inserted into it.
do you guys have any comments?
Yeah, the only thing I want to add is that, you know, it's really critical to recognize that this was an evolutionary process that really told the story of what this community wanted here. And there's a lot of room for it to continue to evolve, meaning what you see there is a finished plan. It's never finished. So what I'm saying is if the community decides that they want a community center as part of that overall development up there, it may fit into it, right? We've got a pretty good spot for a variety of uses. It doesn't have to be exactly like this, but it's important for the community as a whole to guide the development process. If you don't, a developer will decide, come in and decide, and people in the audience probably can speak to this, but a developer will decide what exactly makes the most money for them in use of the space. And what we want to do is, we want the developer to do well, but we also are looking after the long-term sustainable interests of this community. So it's important to recognize this process. It's important to give it credence when you're looking at development proposals when they come in the door. And it's remarkable in this process that the consensus that was generally felt among what the community wanted on this site. The other thing the city needs to decide is what level of investment are we going to make in the site with regard to infrastructure and so forth, and how, in order to, obviously the developers will come in and say, well, what is the city going to contribute to this development? Well, the city's already bought and they're in the process of clearing the site. They've addressed it from a environmental concern standpoint, so the city's already done a lot, but developers will always ask for more. So just be prepared. So, but good. I want to applaud the community here for being participatory in this and really doing a good job in helping get a legitimate process out of it. So it was well done.
And then we talked about this last time, but just to reiterate, this is just a guide. What is built there is not going to look 100% like this, but it is going to follow these guidelines. A developer is going to come in, they're going to want some ownership, they're going to want some say in it, expect some change, but this is a good guide for them. In light of that, not every question is answered here, but it's not supposed to be answered at this point in this process either. So I think what we have here is really good bones, really good guide, really good references for them. It shows the desire of the community. It has good researched references for them, and that should be enough to kind of give the community a voice through the whole process once you start working with the developer. So.
Okay, we just gotta keep moving forward. I don't wanna sit back too long and let it linger all summer long. I wanna keep moving. Because this has got huge potential, whether it's something big or something medium or something small. It's still a big change. Pardon?
Is Bruce clearing it?
As soon as the ground thaws out, he'll start clearing it.
And Mayor, I believe you still have a grant application in process, right, for derelict building
Yeah.
assistance?
Yeah, we should know in another month, I think the end of April.
You've been saying that for 2 months.
Did I?
Yeah, I know.
There is one definitely in process, I know that.
Yeah.
So, it's at the stage, so they're evaluating.
Someone wants the steel building. A farmer called me up and said they want the building. We just gotta get the asbestos out and they could make it disappear. No charge. So.
The other thing,
All right.
Redmond has the full printed copy of this. Do you know how many additional full reports you'd want? I think I have this one in my hand and 2 more in this box. I could leave any or all of them or none of them with you.
I
Just
think P and Z should have one.
P and Z, yeah. I wouldn't make any more right now.
Maybe just one more to have an office and access to PMC.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can put one in the lobby.
Yeah,
Well, yours is bigger than this.
Yeah, this
that's,
is full.
that's
You got
the
that
full,
one, okay.
he got the full.
yeah,
This is
the
the
full,
Three more.
the full report with the exhibits is what I was
I
referring
got
to.
you, okay, I'm
The
sorry.
meat of it is what you have in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Two copies.
Yeah.
Just two.
Yep.
yeah.
That over to you then. Okay.
I don't have anything more for you.
All right.
Thanks for your hard work.
Yeah, thank you
I know
very
you
much.
worked hard, we got the chalkboard up and got a lot of comments on that. When was that, this summer?
Christmas past.
Christmas past,
Yep.
yeah.
And then just for reference, this is the folder that has all those in there, and then this is still on the desktop. That one has the videos, so I'll
Okay.
just leave them on this computer, but Redmond also has the thumb drive, so.
Okay,
And if you need anything, don't hesitate to call us, we'll get it for you.
Yep.
all right, we will. I got Michael's
The
number.
whole process was very, I was impressed with the whole thing. Thank you.
I mean, ultimately, this is your guys' project, it's your community, and so I think that's the smart place to start with any type of development of this scale, so. It's fun
Thank
working
you.
with y'all.
Thank you all three.
Yep, thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. That, I'll get you the 2 more, right?
Okay.
Just one more.
Item E is public comment. Anyone wishing to address the council, you can do so now. We'd love to hear what you have to say. We'll listen to you. We can't take action though. So, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Hearing no public comment, we're going to move on to item F, the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting of March 4th and the claims. Nick and Jody. Any questions on the claims? Any? Was that last time?
Did we change cleaning companies?
Well, we actually,
No.
I guess we should say we did. We have an employee cleaning now.
Okay. Because I saw a name pop up that we were paying $1,300 and,
That was actually for 2 months, so,
okay.
yeah.
Well, he's been doing it, right?
He
Or
had
his-
been, but he decided to retire from city service. So, we have Jamie Tucker, an employee, doing it now.
Perfect.
She's doing a very satisfactory job.
I thought the Baldridge Environmental was $10,000. I see 15,000.
Yeah.
5,000 was for the enzymes. The 10,000 was for the equipment.
Okay.
Yeah, and we expect that we may see another $5,000 amount for enzymes, because it was 10,000 altogether, but this is the first dose for enzymes. And if you recall, the money back guarantee was on the 10,000 for services. The enzyme cost we won't recover if it doesn't work.
Okay. Got some few building incentive payments, I see.
We've got some pending.
Yeah.
I think we'll get a lot more after the end of the month. Some people are waiting for escrow payments to clear.
Payments are due the end of March. Okay, any other comments? Let's vote on the consent agenda then.
Councilperson Goodweiler?
Yes.
Spillman?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Ellison?
Yes.
All right. Non-consent, item G, we have a third reading of ordinance 763, amending the zoning code by adding several amendments regarding front yard, backyard, and zero lot line requirements. This is our third reading. This was just kind of, how do I explain? I need a motion. Somebody. Jordan,
Second.
second. Colton will second. We're basically correcting some oversight in the wording, mostly wording, and does that make sense? Any comments? Okay, let's vote on our third and final reading of ordinance 763.
Councilperson Ellison?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Stulman?
Yes.
Goodweiler?
Yes.
All right. Item 2, second reading of ordinance 764, rezoning a portion of the Meadows subdivision, part 4 of real property from R1 to R2. This is lots 40 through 57, something like that. I need a motion to have the second reading. Jordan and Nick. Any comments? Okay, we'll vote.
Councilperson Ellison?
Yes.
Goodweiler?
Yes.
Stulman?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
All right, one more second reading on ordinance change, rezoning, ordinance 765, rezoning the CUNY Coffin property from A1 agriculture to a planned unit development district. This is behind the BP station up on the hill. So somebody give me a motion in a second. Nick?
Second.
Colton. All right. This is an exciting change, I think, so I support this. Any other comments? Let's vote.
Councilperson Goodweiler?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Stulman?
Yes.
Ellison?
Yes.
Mayor, on this one, there was a request by the applicant to see if the council would consider collapsing the two readings, the third reading as well. So I just wanted to point that out. I don't know if the council.
The one we just did?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I would entertain a motion in a second to, it's not on the agenda though, can we do that?
It's on the agenda.
I guess I'd take a motion as to have the third reading on the CUNY Coffin property. I guess for the purpose of speeding along his development. I think he's set to close soon on the property, and he may need our final.
Should have.
He may need our final approval.
Do you want me to come up?
Make him
and
feel
just
better,
talk
sure.
about it?
I don't have a motion yet, but go ahead.
Okay, Sandy Style with MMS Consultants. Yeah, it's just more or less so we can get going on the zoning. Once we get the zoning, we know that's locked in, then we can really start turning our wheels on developing the site and the engineering of the site. So.
Okay. We've done this sometimes, and sometimes we haven't.
I was just gonna say, yeah, being that, I mean, I don't mean to sound arrogant, but it sounds like you guys are for this. So that's why I just requested that we collapse the second and third. I think it's a good development for West Branch, and you guys are able to do something that the city of Iowa City hasn't been able to do, so, yeah.
Okay, I would support it completely. I think we're gonna approve it next week anyway, or next 2 weeks. The only thing you miss by doing a delay, or not delaying it, is a public input. So I think public can input, they can attend the meetings. They've had their chance. We've had public hearings. Anyway, would someone like the motion to do the third reading tonight? Nick and Jody, is that right? Okay. Any comments?
I'm normally against doing
I know you are.
this. But at the end of the day, it's been through the planning and zoning, and there's been no negative feedback whatsoever. So I mean, I don't see what it hurts at this point. I mean, when we try to do all three of them at once. I never like doing that.
Yeah.
But at least waiving one, I suppose we could do that.
Okay. Any other comments? We'll vote then. Leslie? On the third, this is the third reading of the rezoning the CUNY Coffin property from A1 to planned unit development. Third reading.
Councilperson Goodweiler?
Yes.
Stulman?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Ellison?
Yes.
All right. Start planning. Item 4, resolution 1791, hiring Zach Murdoch as a police officer for the city of West Branch, setting an hourly wage for the position until completion of a law enforcement academy. Can I have a motion, please? To hire Zach. Colton and Nick will second. I think Zach's the perfect guy for the job. He's been around already. He's ready to go. So I support it. Support him. Any other
My only
comment?
comment is,
Mm-hmm.
why do we approve these when we have, I mean, I really don't have any background or anything on this. You know, just like
Yeah.
the fire department, you guys don't get any background on approve, I mean, you're asked to approve personnel, but you get no,
We rely on the chief and
I know you do.
Redmond interview.
So why
Redmond and I
do we have
interviewed
to
him.
do it?
Pardon?
We are their pay.
We're the governing body.
Yeah, we're their boss. We're the chief's boss, we're Redmond's boss.
We're the chief's boss and the Redmond's boss, but this is micromanaging. I mean, you gotta trust.
That's what we're
That's
getting
what
at.
we're doing.
Anyhow,
I have faith in the process. Chief and Redmond and
Not here for me.
I just don't understand.
Bring
how
in.
we-
I can entertain any questions, I guess, if the council would like.
One of the comments I'd like to make is this is how it's supposed to work. This is why we had the reserve program and we have the part-time and that type of stuff. So we have almost like a next man up type of mentality. We didn't have to go through a job search and taking them out to the track and running them around the track and all that other stuff. We had our next guy in mind. We'd already test drove him. We knew whether or not he was going to make it or not. And this is how it's supposed to work. This is the first time we've ever done this.
I was
So
gonna say, this is the fastest
Yeah.
we've ever found an officer.
this is awesome.
Ever. In like 8 years.
yeah, I sat through 5 or 6 interviews last time. I like this much better. Yeah, he's proven. He's been here. So
I know
We could have scared him off already if that was what was going to happen.
okay, did I get a motion?
Yes. Miller?
Okay.
Yes, I motion.
All right.
I don't know if I got a second, but
Yes, Goodweiler.
All right. Any other comments?
I know there's an 8-mile rule. I don't know if there's a.
Where do you live? You live within 8 miles.
If you already live
Or
within 8
no,
miles.
you don't. He will.
Well, that was just my question, 'cause I know
He'll move to town or close.
which is fine, I have no doubt he will, it's just, I didn't know if we had a timeline on it, I know we gave Redmond a
I don't know
timeline.
if we have a timeline.
I thought there was.
yeah, there it is.
I understand it's gonna be quick, so.
Yeah, that's what I mean, that's why I didn't know, like, if he's like next week, or like, if we don't wanna put him under some sort of, that was my only
It's not,
question.
so we're not going to force him
I didn't think so, but
unduly.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask.
No burden.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he was already close or not.
And I assume that we're going to enter into the same agreements with him as far as
Reimbursement and
Reimbursement if he
academies,
doesn't.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that'll be coming at a later date. Kevin's gonna work that up.
Cool.
Okay, I'm ready to vote for Zach Murdoch, new police officer.
Councilperson Miller?
Yes.
Goodweiler?
Yes.
Ellison?
Yes.
Stulman?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to swear you in right now. Okay. Okay. You're going to repeat after me. I, Zachary Michael Murdoch,
I, Zachary Michael Murdoch,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability, discharge all duties as a full-time police officer
to the best of my ability, discharge all duties as a full-time police officer
for the City of West Branch as now or hereafter required by law.
for the City of West Branch as now or hereafter required by law.
Congratulations.
Zach, I understand you got some family in the audience.
The peanut section.
That was the intro to introduce your family.
Oh, he's making it official right now.
Oh, okay.
I gave him something to sign at the
Yeah,
same time.
Change your mind.
So Zach's been working for us in a landscaping business. I know that's hard work. So we'll keep you busy here. We ready to move on? Okay. Item 5, Resolution 1796. Setting a public hearing on a proposed development agreement with EMV Holdings, aka Little Lights, which includes annual appropriations, tax increment rebates. Where am I here? I need a motion. Nick? Need a second. Colton? God, did it get warm in here?
It is.
Okay, this is something Kevin wrote up without him here. So, where is it?
This is just setting the date for the hearing.
This is just setting the date.
Yeah.
This isn't even,
Yeah.
What am I getting
It's
at?
included in the packet for you to
Could we
review.
talk about changing an item on the agreement though, tonight?
Yeah.
I don't have it in front of me. Did we get it?
Yeah, we got it.
It's,
Yeah,
It's in the packet.
34. Page 34.
It's the development
Oh, it's way
agreement.
down there, okay. Let's set this public hearing and then we'll,
I'll be gone for the public hearing, unfortunately. But
okay,
What I would like to
Go
talk
ahead.
about, when the original agreement was set up, it was a 1.5 million valuation on the property and a 10% TIF on that 1.5 million. The valuation came to us at just under $900,000. So I propose we go with 10% of the $900,000 as the TIF amount, as opposed to the $150,000 TIF amount in the original development agreement. I think that's only fair.
where's the
Yeah.
900,000 you're getting?
Yeah, we're.
From the permit that we just issued,
Oh,
it was $896,000 permit. And that's why I'm saying it doesn't seem reasonable that they present 1.5 million and then they say, oh, we aren't going to build that. We still want 10% of the 1.5 million, but we're only going to put up a $900,000 building.
I got a feeling when it's finally assessed, it's gonna be more than 900,000 though.
I thought we set up to where it was gonna be a set percentage regardless of what the cost of the building was. Didn't we do that? We
My
didn't do it on
underst-
the evaluation. I thought it
My
was-
understanding was it was gonna be a percentage of what the valuation was,
With a
not to exceed
1.5.
1.5.
That's what's making sense.
That
So,
was my understanding of how we were gonna do it.
to your point, I guess, this is not really fully assessed yet. It won't be for 2 years.
Well, I agree.
So,
I thought we set it up where it was, whatever the final thing came out to be, it was only gonna be a set percentage. Whether they put up a $200,000 building or
Because
a
it's,
million, 1.5 was the cap, and anything
Yeah,
less than that
because
was
it's-
a
Right.
percentage.
because it's too hard, I mean, they're gonna come at us when they're, for permitting reasons, they're gonna come at us at a construction cost and not necessarily what it's gonna be worth when it's done. I mean, at least if they were smart, I wouldn't come in there and pay for a permit on $1.5 million building if I'm gonna get it built for $900,000. I mean,
that happens all the time.
Well, like I say, I think I would like to see it amended or use the 10% of the building valuation.
yeah.
So we'll talk to Kevin when
It
he
says
gets-
here not to exceed 150,000.
Right.
And the other thing to keep in mind is that there's a limit on the years. So this is all based on how much taxes we receive in that we pay out. Obviously, based on the assessed value is going to affect the tax rate. If they, for example, are assessed lowly for whatever reason it stays that way, they're not going to be able to make it up to the $150,000 in a 10-year period anyway. And it's capped at 10 years. So it's really relative based on the fluctuation of the assessed value and where that goes, if they're going to be able to get to that. But we can still, talk to Kevin, because we had talked about percentages and making it a clear percentage on whatever.
Roll that
investment.
percentage
Yeah.
figure in here somewhere.
And I think he worked on the timeline being
Sure.
that guided point versus just making it clear.
Okay.
And he has some
But-
other obligations.
Yeah.
Like he's gotta stay in that center for a decade. Get a building permit within 18 months.
Right.
Okay, good. Good discussion, but we're gonna set a public hearing date. So what are we proposing next?
In the next meeting,
Where's the actual?
April 1st.
April 1st.
Approved.
We really gonna have a meeting that day? Okay, do I get a motion then to set the public hearing? All right.
Yes.
Okay. We'll talk more about it. Any more discussion on this particular topic? Okay, we'll vote then. Leslie, please.
Councilperson Goodweiler?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Stulman?
Yes.
Ellison?
Casey's Old Store, item 6. What do you know, Redmond?
Well, I think there's still some room for negotiating the gravel versus parking
Some sort of hard surface?
hard surface.
No gravel,
Because I think we have a
no gravel.
ordinance that say you can't have a dust producing
No gravel.
surface. And I believe right now, there's still gravel around the footprint of where the building is. I don't think they're going to, right now, I don't think they're going to seal coat it or anything, which I think we should at least say seal coat.
So
But-
right now, they're gonna tear the building down.
They're gonna tear the building
They've
down.
agreed to that.
They agree to that.
They're supposed to anyway.
Yeah.
And then
They will
they're
have to
gonna give us the
monitor,
lot.
and they will give us the lot.
We get the lot. The
For a
whole-
dollar.
Pardon?
For a dollar.
The dollar. We don't know how much they plan on paving or how much they plan on seeding. I guess. But whatever they do pave, I think it should not be gravel.
No.
What do you think?
If they seal coat it, we'll give them $2.
Yeah.
Chip and seal's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chip and seal's
Chip and
fine.
seal's fine.
it shouldn't be that hard.
Can we hang tough on that?
I think we can do that. I'll talk to
They've
Kevin.
already violated their agreement. They
Yeah.
should have had it torn down 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says that in here, that they're in violation.
Okay.
So while we're talking about this site, who's giving the semis the okay to park
I don't know.
there?
Nobody.
It's not ours yet, so I guess they must be taking it upon themselves to do it.
I'd say so. Is it just the one? Or is it others?
I don't
It's
know.
one at a time.
Yeah, I've only just seen one there, but
I
it's,
think
there are
one actually
multiple.
called us.
Yeah, I believe the person lives in the
He may
house
live there.
behind Casey's, because he called and asked if he could park his personal vehicle someplace out of the flood zone, because he was concerned that there was gonna be flooding this last weekend. He said he would be gone for 2 weeks, so it's just recently shown up, so I'm not sure if he's just a new resident.
In the house behind.
Yeah. So I think it's because it's just kind of there and it's not being monitored that it's happening.
We'll
Along
deal-
with, there's a big pile of glass from whoever was doing construction in the building. It's just laying in the parking lot, I noticed, and
Mm.
obviously Casey's is not monitoring the property because it's,
Okay, we'll deal with it when it's ours. Okay,
Kevin was looking for an agreement for, a closing date of April 1st. So if you don't want that, to give comments to Redmond so he can relay those on, so the agreement can be changed. So we'll probably come back another time.
if we don't want,
Well, if you want chip and seal
Chip,
and they
yeah.
don't agree to that, I mean,
well, you
but
need
he
to
had, right
call,
now, the agreement shows that they
you
would.
gotta
we would
call
close
Kevin
on April
tomorrow.
1st.
Yeah. He's on vacation, but I
Yeah.
guess
Oh, he
he's
is.
checking messages, because I think he said
Send him a
checking
message.
messages. Yeah.
So the ground and everything's come back clean.
No,
No.
They have
No.
to have a, they have
A
They have to have
monitor.
it
a monitor.
mitigated?
Yeah, they have a monitor for
How many years? I think the agreement said, like 10 years.
Yeah.
Kevin says it won't come back on us.
yeah, well,
It won't, but
It's their responsibility.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't see where it says they're gonna take it down.
That was my only question,
Where does it say that they're gonna take it down?
because I know,
The original agreement's null and void. This takes its place. So if this doesn't say they're taking it down, I couldn't find it. So I don't know.
The building?
That was- Yeah.
Right here on, page 47 and number 19,
Upon completion of the described.
it says demolition, seller shall demolish and clear all structures.
All right, there it is. I just didn't go far enough. So
Okay.
paying him $1.
Item 7, fireworks. Resolution 1792, approving a fireworks agreement with the J&M Displays for Hoover Hometown Days. I haven't got this far down my agenda, so I'm reading this for the first time. I'm sorry. How much is it?
25 grand.
25?
Yep.
Worked well last year, right?
Yep.
I need a motion. Nick? Dalton will second. Any other discussion?
The money is in there, right?
It's in the budget.
It's
In the
allocated.
budget.
It's allocated. It's not funded.
That's
but-
that.
Not
There-
funded
there
yet.
It is, so it's not
Crap.
funded, but it's
It
in the
will be.
budget.
It's in the budget.
So,
That could be all we're having for Hoover.
one
Days,
little
is
caveat
just
I wanted to
fireworks.
add, so, our Chinese tariffs issue has affected the price of fireworks. Although it actually ran up the price 10%, but since we're paying early, we're making a payment before the fiscal year and a payment right at July 1st. That's given us discounts to overcome the 10% increase in cost. So,
Okay,
just so that you know,
good.
So next year could be different.
it could be. Could be. Who knows? Maybe the
Maybe
Trump
the
master
tariff
25
plan-
grand
won't-
isn't gonna
will
give
be
us as much
gone.
next year. The wolf might be gone.
Does anybody else make fireworks?
Bunch of midgets with sparklers.
All right, we got a motion and a second for fireworks. Let's vote.
Councilperson Goodweiler?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Ellison?
Yes.
Stulman?
yes.
Item 8, Resolution 1793, approving a memorandum of understanding with the West Branch School District relating to the summer league programs. Just the same as before? Go ahead.
This is pretty much the same agreement that we've had with the school before. It's just for a one-year agreement. We're going to see
hopefully next year we won't need this anymore. We pay the school $1,000. It covers the lights that we use for our ball games, as well as the all the teams up at the Summer League fields. The Legion concession stand also runs off of that generator. Sometimes they do football practices at night, so we pay the school a standard fee for that. They take care of the mowing. We drag the fields and manage the field schedule, and concession stand stuff.
Is that event and tournament fee new, or has that always been?
In the policy.
That's a school district thing, right?
Right, so then we adapted the policy that I had presented at the last meeting for the schedule to kind of adopt the school policy in regards to fees. So then we can talk about that later, but real quick, so like an event let's say an ASA team wants to have a scrimmage with another team, that's considered an event, so it'd be a $20 fee that team would pay to us. Same way with tournament scheduling, 2 fields,
You would owe this.
They would owe us, yeah.
But then you turn and put that back to
Yes.
the school. Okay, so it's a school district policy.
Is this a 2080 agreement?
It's just it's a memorandum, it's MOU.
Yeah, okay.
We don't have a 2080.
So, who does trash removal?
They have a dumpster up there.
Right.
If the school notices it, they do it. If not, then we do it. We empty the trash cans in there.
It's working out.
Most part, yeah. We don't have a recycling program up there. That's one thing that bothers me a little bit. It's kind of, at Cubby Park we will, but there it's kind of difficult.
That's hard to police too, because you get garbage in those also.
Right. Yep.
Okay, did I get a motion?
But
No.
I'll send them to the school district.
I need a motion to approve this memorandum of understanding, Jordan and Nick. Well, let's approve it and play ball.
I have the other things on the agenda. So
Oh, you do?
She's gonna stand
Yeah,
there.
she's gonna
Just gonna
Okay,
stand.
we ready to vote on this? Go ahead, Leslie.
Councilperson Ellison?
Yes.
Goodweiler?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Stulman?
Yes.
Item 9, Resolution 1794, approving various contracts for the Hoover's Hometown Days celebrations in the amount of $6,530.17. Man, I just completely blew this off. Go ahead. I need a motion.
So moved.
Colton. Nick. What do we got? Big Ten Rentals,
City Cornwall.
Coralville. Wait,
Okay, what's Coralville?
It's for the,
It's a showcase.
yeah, for the stage.
Down at the park.
Yeah.
Then, sorry, but I think that they can pay for their own.
the park.
Well, either the park or the association or whoever.
Okay, comment. What else have we got?
Because that's the stage that's set up in the park, not on Main Street.
In front of,
in front of the library.
To me,
Front of
if
the
it
library.
happens on park property, we should not be paying for it.
Here's my only question. Who schedules the events on there? Do we do it or does the association?
the committee,
It's kind of a combo.
the committee.
So the band that'll play for the fireworks, that is not in this yet, but that will play on the stage. That's the only thing that's scheduled to play on the stage is the band that plays for the fireworks.
The city does pay for the band.
We also pay for the band.
Do we get a permit to put that shelter that,
Yep.
don't we? Yeah.
Yes, we do.
We pay for the Cedar Rapids band too.
Oh, yes.
And you have to pay for the permit to have it in the park?
We don't pay for the permit.
Oh,
You
okay.
just have to
Wait,
complete.
okay.
How generous.
Would you like to call Jerry?
I will.
Can you give me a
No,
mic?
you're not.
I will.
Should have brought that up.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. I guess I never realized that before. Why are we paying for it when it's in park?
Right.
Because we just, that's how we get it done. That's how it gets
They basically
done.
have to approve what type of music is there too, don't they?
Right.
But didn't they
They
just
don't.
come here a couple months
Well,
ago and say they
I
wanted
mean,
to
I'm
work
sure
with
they
us?
have,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all
Must
been
be
working
an
out.
Opportunity to work with us,
Yeah.
for them to pay for this. I mean, if they're working with us, I mean, I haven't been part of the conversation, so I don't know what are they doing? We're working with us, and what are they doing?
What's their
Telling
I'm
us
saying,
what
what's their
to do and
contribution?
what to pay for.
yeah. What's allowed?
If I may ask.
We've been doing it this way. I mean, your choice, however you want to do it. But this is kind of how we've been doing it for years. I
3
mean,
years, 4,
Probably.
How many?
since we took over fundraising,
Yeah,
all the
Yes.
fundraising.
right.
Huh?
4, maybe 5, 4 years.
I'd have to look back and see when we.
Probably 4 years.
I've been doing the fundraising since I started. I'll be here 5
Yeah,
and
It was before that, I think.
before that,
So probably 6 years.
yeah, I think you're right.
maybe 7.
You know,
It hasn't always been done
One year
like
the
that
Haynes
this
is
way.
doing
I
it.
know that.
500 bucks
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
the
that's my
stage
question.
or
No,
something.
the foundation did all,
Yeah, you
they
could give us
paid for the
500. Well,
fireworks
I guess not this year,
They don't now.
years
The
ago.
foundation paid for the fireworks, the band. Anything that happened on park property, the city years and years ago never paid for. Until something happened and
Might have been when they
then.
were separate celebrations too. There was,
No, it was
there
all
was,
one back then. When President Reagan came and all that, it was all one still.
President Reagan came here?
he wasn't the president then.
Oh, well, he was a candidate, of course.
He wasn't, no president's been here,
I would just really like,
I don't think.
I get a flyer in the mail from the foundation asking for a donation, not only our flyer, so to help out with Hoover Hometown Days.
Okay,
Okay.
well, let's start a collaborative
I thought that was what we
fundraising
came
effort
up here to
then.
talk to us.
Yeah, I thought they wanted to be a part of the,
I thought we were going to work with them, is what we came up with last year, that Mr. Flegel came to the council meeting and he was open to working with with the city.
because I guess I didn't realize that.
That was
the
about
stage
changing
took
the
That was
date.
about
I thought it
changing
was
the date.
The
stage.
date.
I know that was about changing the date, but I also asked him if he was willing to work with the council on paying for some of
Yeah, you
the
did.
stuff going on.
So the association has been attending our meetings, just to let you
Good.
know. So
Doing better than me.
no comment. So they have been attending, and they're planning to do the Youth Hoover Ball down at Village Green on Friday night, and then they do the Hoover Ball over on Saturday. They're going to take over like the music that we do on Friday night in the Village Green. We've had a couple of bands there before, just kind of as mood music, and they're going to take that over, sort of thing. So they are participating. Yeah, they do the admissions. We don't have that confirmed. Yeah, in previous years, they've paid for the park admissions at the
Yes,
National
they
Park.
did.
But at our last meeting, we didn't have that confirmed yet, if they were going to do that
That's
or
a
not.
ton of money, because the library has to get paid.
Right.
They can't just let people in, so the foundation is paying for that. I don't know what else to tell you. I guess I wouldn't mind if we want to attempt to work with them.
Well, in my eyes, we pay for the fireworks, so if they want music to go with the fireworks, somebody else can help.
But this is where that conflict started. Who got what? Because we were calling the same people. We were calling it's a small town. So that's kind of how it blew up. And that's when it was decided one of us would do it all.
No, somebody shut their mouth off that they would do it all. Say it the way it is. The public needs to
Yeah,
know.
and we got good at it.
Well, that, yeah.
The city we got good at it.
Okay, so I guess I didn't realize that that stage is the one set up in there, so then we don't have a stage set up in the park. Anything that is supposed to go in the park that we're paying for, I am not okay with.
I'm not okay with it
If
either.
we're paying for fireworks, if we pay for everything else set up in the streets, and that's why people go to visit the library.
But we pay for fireworks, they're on park property. We're gonna pay for that.
Yeah, because I thought we were doing our half, or our portion.
The Village Green inflatables are on park property.
All the inflatables are on park property.
Park there. Or Village Green.
Village Green.
Everything that happens down right in the center of town is all on their property. But do we pay them for a permit for that?
We do a permit. We don't pay them for the permit. They waive the permit fee, but we do a permit for everything that's on the park property. The association does a separate permit for the Hoover Ball and the things that they do on Friday night, and then we do a park permit for the other thing.
Yeah.
So, instead of us slamming our fist down and say, we're not paying for this, I mean, both of us are gonna, the town needs the park, and the park needs the town. So, would it be out of question to just approach the park or the library and say, could you pay the $900 for the stage?
Let's ask them to pay for something.
We'll pay for the band because we always have, but you take this. I mean, just to give and take. I mean, the band's not even that much, is it?
It's
It's about $3,500.
3,000.
Yeah.
So maybe we pay for the stage. But let them pay, you know? But
How about they pay for both? We paid $25,000
okay,
for
so
the fireworks.
so we're gonna say, okay, we're gonna use Village Green. We're gonna use the park. We're gonna use all this stuff, but we're not gonna let you have it on the day you want it. So we're gonna control the day, but we're gonna make you pay for it.
What day do they want it on?
He wanted it on the 10th,
Yeah. They
which is a week later,
Week later.
which is Hoover's actual birthday.
Yeah.
We already told them no.
We said no. Because it created all sorts of other problems with state fair and
And it's just
Tradition.
a tradition. It's the first weekend in
August.
August.
The
That's
first full weekend.
yeah. I mean, that's just the way it is. And
Because it's
to
been-
change it
it's
wouldn't
been
be
later
smart.
before.
Well, it's been later when it's,
With the
when
first,
it's
it has to be the first
Latest
full
it could be
weekend.
would be
Yeah.
the 7th.
Yeah.
last year was later,
Be the
wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think
7th.
we had a Sunday was the first. So.
Okay, I like Colton's approach. Let's, I'll make a call.
Anyway, how much, we talk about park entry fees, we talk about every single person that walks in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
into the library.
Into the
Into
library.
the library.
Into the library.
How many people go in the, like, what's that cost?
It's $8.
$10 bucks?
$10, yeah.
Do they have
Per
a count?
person.
I think they paid over
It's-
$2,000,
How
Two?
much?
over 2,000, I believe.
I think it's more than that.
It's
Yeah,
more
I
than
can't-
that for
I think it's a lot more than
Christmas
that.
Fest. I know
Well,
that.
Christmas Pass I can understand because
That
it's
was about
cold. People want to be
3
inside.
times that.
Right.
Summer is a little different. I mean, they may go in to cool off a little bit, but for the most part, people are outside.
Well, I think we should, I want to approve it tonight.
We can
I
pull
think if
that
we
off
could-
of there.
Yeah.
Pull the stage
Pull the
off.
stage off.
Is there any,
There's no urgency to
no
it.
hurry?
No.
I mean, and then didn't we set up all the fireworks so it could be basically the ultimate viewing is in the park,
In front of the stage,
in front of the stage,
yeah.
and so I mean we've kind of made it to where the people
We
need to
the
be in
stage.
there.
We need the stage
Yeah.
and the band there.
It's not like we can just say forget it, we'll put our stage somewhere
Do you
else.
go down there and watch it?
Do
Go
I?
down there?
I do, that's right, I said.
I don't.
We did-
cemetery.
We did talk as a committee about getting rid of that, about getting rid of the stage and the band. The committee decided that if there was funding for it, to keep it, because there's quite a few people that go down and see. I don't know what Pete gave us a number. I'm thinking it was around 500, sorry, about 500 for
To
the
watch
view.
the fireworks
Yeah,
there.
Right.
When it was in the circle, there was over 5,000 people
Right.
in the circle.
Right.
That I could see.
And we've also discussed about moving it back to the circle, but
Yeah,
I
we
think that
talked
there's
about it
so
last
many
year.
other
The
draws.
trees are too tall or something.
Well, I think the concern is that it would look small because there wouldn't be as many people. There's more now. There's more things happening. There's stuff happening at the fire station. There's people having parties at their homes. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
not the same as
that's
everybody.
when everybody came into town to watch it.
When it was
Now
Hooverfest, it was
everybody's
different.
out, kind of, and last year was the Nubo thing that we were afraid of. That failed, didn't it?
Yeah, they're afraid of us now.
All right, where are we at? Do I got a motion then
Yes.
to approve all these?
How much is the permit?
Would someone like to,
Anybody know?
Who was the motion? And the motion have to do it?
How much does it cost for the
Goodwill.
permit?
Yeah,
We don't have to pay for the
that's
permit.
what I'm saying, how much is it?
Oh, normally,
That's
I'm just trying to figure out how much they're, before we just say they're not paying anything.
the permit fee?
that's the National Park Service that we do
Yeah.
it for, right, to, not the association. So I would think,
Do
I think
they
it's
not
about
charge us?
Association and
Do they
then-
not charge us or
I
is
think
it a
it's
fee?
$5.50.
I think it's like maybe, I think that's the last one I just did was $25.
Right.
Yeah, we're not talking a
That's
significant
what I'm
amount of
wondering.
money.
And that's Swisher, that's Pete.
Yeah.
And the NPS, that's not the
foundation.
foundation pellet, or paying for it. Well, unless I get a motion to pull this stage item off, we either need to vote for the whole thing or not. Some of these things need to be voted on, we need to get them approved. So, what is it, 600 bucks, 900 bucks?
925.
$900.
You make the motion?
I made the motion, but I mean, what, if it's gonna be 2-2 and it's gonna lose, then let's pull it off. If it's not gonna be, then let's just proceed.
If it's in there, you vote no, who's voting no or yes?
Yes, I
You go-
vote no.
I think you two are voting no, with the stage in there.
So I
Okay.
move we remove the stage from Resolution 1794.
So that's a motion to amend the motion to remove the stage item from the resolution 1794. Do I need a second to that? Give me a second, somebody. Nick? I want to vote on that amendment, and then we're going to vote on the whole thing.
Okay,
I'm covering my butt here.
all right,
I want to vote on this amendment.
voting on the amendment.
Kevin's not here.
Okay. Miller,
Yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Ellison.
Yes.
All right, so we have an amended motion. Now, if there's no more discussion, let's vote on the entire motion with the stage provision out.
Miller.
Understood? Go
Yes.
Sorry, Miller.
That's a yes.
Goodweiler,
Yes.
Stulman,
Yes.
Ellison.
All right. Was the Cedar Rapids band in this?
No, it's not in this
Okay,
one.
good.
No.
We can't give them not a place to play.
Really.
We'll get it worked out.
Anything.
Sorry, I didn't get that far last night, so. Item 10, Resolution 1795, approving a recreation facility, park, and sports field use and fee policy. Give me a motion, someone. Jody? Give me a second, Nick.
Oh.
Nick,
Either one.
that was Jordan. I was looking at Nick. He was on Park and Rec. Okay. Go ahead.
So this is pretty much the same policy I presented last meeting, with the exception we changed the fees for the summer league field to be in line with what the school charges for all of their sports teams, whether it be club or rec or anything like that. So.
Okay. This is what you, didn't we, is this different from what we did like a month ago? This is the same thing. Okay, I get it.
Sorry, my tablet is
No, you're
dead.
fine.
It's
Any
gone.
discussion?
I did receive some complaints about the $5.
$5?
I mean, yeah.
So teams were concerned about having to pay for practice. In all honesty, this pretty much, this is going to be a wash. It's going to be about the same fees overall that they would have been paying the other method, but just as in line with the school. The thought process is it's not a user fee, it's a maintenance fee.
And so the $5 is for the summer league teams. That's included in their fee that they pay the summer league, right? So this would just be for the ASA.
Yes, this is for the specialty teams.
Okay, I think I understand it.
And does the ASA, do they pay anything towards the money that we pay for the fields that they're using?
Currently,
Yeah.
this will have them pay fees there, but currently, no.
Currently, no.
Currently, no.
So currently, they are getting the free ride while this, okay.
Yes.
And that is where I got the complaint, because it's not. I'm not saying it's coming from me, it came from several coaches in the past and several now. Because anytime that they go to use those fields, they spend the entire pre-time setting it up for what they deem as what the quality should be. So they're saying that they're paying $5 to not only pay $5 to use it, but pay $5 to also have to maintain it and clean it up when they're done, which is the complaint. I understand it's $5, and just, that's what was felt to me. I told them I would bring that up. The other thing was the complaint about the tournament, but that's a school rule, and I'll send them that direction on that.
Yep.
So that was the complaint that I was brought up.
Okay.
So in previous years, just to put, and we were looking back at our financial records, our personal financial records, ASA teams used to donate to Summer League Field between $125 and $175 each year to help maintain the fields. So and that was in 2009. That was the last time.
Total?
In 2000, each team would give that amount, and so that was kind of, and since the city has taken over, they have not donated anything. So we pay the field, we pay for the field line, the chalk, the things like that. While it might not be ideal conditions,
I think that's where the complaint came from.
It is-
They used to pay, and what they got out of their money was not worth what they thought they paid, and ended up redoing it anyway. So, like I said, I'm just passing it on.
but they haven't
Passing
paid
judgment.
in the past 5 years.
So
Yeah,
if they
that's why
pay now,
That's why they haven't paid, because they felt they paid
they-
that money and didn't get their money's worth. So they stopped paying and did it all themselves
5
anyway.
years or 10?
Well, I was just looking back from 2009.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, this is a maintenance fee to try
Yeah.
and recoup some of the costs, whether it be for the electricity that we pay for, or the basic field maintenance, whether it be.
so they're gonna expect not to do much work now, that they're going
Yes.
to be paid.
That's the same.
Correct?
I'm not
That's-
saying all of them.
that's-
I'm saying specific individuals have said that if they have to pay, then they're not going to do it.
Well,
More than
there
likely,
won't
most
be much
people
work,
will,
is it?
like
Will there?
the
Because
team I
it's gonna be
coach,
out that coming
our
new
coaches, if we
fields.
use it, will rake the field and clean up the field afterwards. I'm just saying that some people have made the point that if they're paying for the cleanup and the preparation, they shouldn't have to do the cleanup and the preparation, and they're gonna leave it. So then it comes to the point where you don't know what you're gonna show up to, whether it's that night the city goes and cleans it, or it's the next day. Because they can trash it, and if the city doesn't get to the next day and you get a good rain, you can have it'll be much more
Right.
work for the city to clean afterward. I'm not saying people will do it. I think it was more of just reaction to that you have to pay to use this. I'm not gonna do anything for it. I'm more than likely, most of the people in this town will probably still do it. But at least I told them how to bring it up.
So just like when you use the school though, like for a tournament,
Yeah, and
they're still required to clean up after themselves, to empty the trashes, to, if you use a gym, you gotta sweep the floors, you know, or any building
And
like
that was
that.
also the other
Yeah, I mean,
comment on that, but like I said, that's not a city issue, that's a school
we
issue.
rent the town
They had
hall,
the same
we
comment
expect it
about
to be
that.
clean
Yeah.
when they're done. This is a little more labor, I mean,
That-
ball
that
field.
was- Yeah, that was. And just,
Okay,
like, I don't know, like I just said, I'd bring it up. I know there was complaints. I just wanted to.
well, we'll
I
try to work,
expected that.
Yeah,
try to work
I was
through
gonna-
it.
Change is hard.
Okay,
I told
we
them I would
got
bring it
a,
up.
we got a motion and a second to approve, the facility and sports field use fee policy. So with no other comments, we ready to vote? I'm ready to vote, Leslie.
Stulman,
Oh, yeah, yes.
Ellison,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Goodweiler.
Yes.
I thought you were asking.
I didn't know you made the motion. All right.
Okay.
All right, city administrator, what have you, Redmond?
Yes, so we talked a little bit about Boulder Ridge, so that's moving hot now. So the weather's broken and we're moving on starting the testing with the sludge and checking out the current levels so they can set a baseline. We're also looking at possibility of getting a 6-month extension in our 2022 deadline to have our levels in compliance, and that's going to be because this is legitimately considered to be a pilot project. So we're going to say, hey, can we have time to get the data in? We would like to have 6 months data to show that this is actually working, and so we're
How
going
many
to
times can we do that?
I don't know how many times we can do that, but there is precedence that they will give those kind of things. I don't know, we've been showing good faith effort. We're starting our facility plan. We're hopefully going to get some data back on that from V&K soon. So it's not like we're dragging our feet or not doing anything. We're doing everything possible. So
Ask for like a continuance, but like a before. This is like the first we'd be asking. Right?
yeah, I think this is Exactly. From what I'm understanding, it's a reasonable request. So we'll explore that as well. But we're as I said, we're going through our facility plan now. We're not stopping anything. So I don't think they're going to think that we're trying to do some kind of in run on them or anything like that. But we'll see. So that's going along fine, and going to be moving forward. We're working on getting the electrical set up and get the actual machine in there that's going to be doing all that. But this is the testing portion, so they can establish the baseline. So that's good. We're finally moving forward on that. We put together a letter for a residence on College Street, and I kind of copied that. Leslie put that together for us, and we're going to also have our website set up to take on the weekly updates for the contractors, updates on College Street Bridge, so folks will be able to see where we are, how things going, and we've got a map, and I think there's going to be something in the paper next go around, so we should be pretty well informed of what's happening on College Street.
My only question is, I just want to make sure that those businesses can still get into their property, and that
Questions? Roofing? you mean?
Russians and Moors and the grain bins,
That
I mean,
was-
we've given them permission to,
That was
Park.
addressed in the negotiating the construction easement, so it's been talked about.
oh, okay.
Yeah, and the contractor, go ahead.
We also had a meeting out there with B&K, Taylor, and then every one of those businesses there and talked to them and just set that up. That portion of it actually probably won't even happen until, I want to say it's
late June, and then it's supposed to be done by beginning of August or something like that.
Okay.
That's the very last thing that's getting done, is that portion. So, and during that, we have it set up, they're gonna go through the Kroll site to get to Morris, so they're gonna keep access across the road there, and they won't be able to get down to that lower building, West Branch Roofing wall, without going up to Main Street and back.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, we've had discussions with
All
them, I
right.
think, it's last.
Thank you.
last week.
Yeah, it's being worked on.
Good.
Now, it has been proposed to us about having project sign. If you're familiar with kind of like this is the project, this is what's going on with the project that we can set up at the site or at least on both sides of the site. That sign was to be an additional cost of $500. Wasn't sure if we wanted to spend $500 to have that sign there or if we want to just rely on our website to keep information out there, but having a sign out there that would explain some basics and show the phases and all that could be on site if that's something that the council's interested in doing.
My opinion is we've been talking about this for 6 years, so I mean, if anybody that really was interested in it's familiar with what we're doing.
I don't feel like spending the $500 to tell you the truth, because I think the contingencies, we're gonna
Plenty
need
of
it.
other locations to
Yeah.
gather the information. Whether
Yeah.
Call Leslie or look at the website.
And like we are sending out
Same all,
letters
but-
and
Yeah.
so very good feedback. All right, thank you. Tomorrow, and I did this once before. I think the mayor, you might have done this before. The Cedar County Emergency Management folks are doing what they call Meet the Press. It's a kind of a scenario-based class on how to handle the press. They like to do it right around this time of the year because of flooding is usually a typical kind of thing around the county. So they're actually having a meeting tomorrow at 10:30. I thought it was pretty useful. I don't know.
Not that time of day, not for me.
But I asked to
can
offer
go.
it
I'm
because it's
not-
focused
I'm
on
not gonna
elected
make it.
officials as well as department heads and all that. But want to put that out there. Tim asked me to share that. Also, I guess a little bit of negative news maybe. Apparently, Care Initiative, our parent company to Crestview, has been lobbying to have their rollback classification changed, and apparently was successful from moving it from commercial to residential. So the
From multiple use to residential.
Purely residential.
Yeah, it was
Multifamily. Did you say
multifamily to residential. It was already at,
They got pretty good attorneys.
apparently they
Yeah.
did it all throughout the state, not just here.
Yeah, they've been winning all over it. That's what Kevin said. They've been winning those cases.
So I guess the result is that it's going to change what used to be 75% rollback, taking it down to 56, 55. So for us, I guess in dollars, that's somewhere around $21,000 less revenue for us to give you kind of.
Until they increase in value enough to make up for that, which they should.
Hopefully.
Their taxes they're paying this year were assessed initially at $73,000. With this rollback, they'll pay about $52,000 this year, and next year I don't know. But their taxes are actually going to be less than they paid way back in 2004. It's really a stinker for the city, but
Well,
we can't do anything about it.
No, more power to them. Corporate will make more money.
Now it's too bad we took that drainage ditch out in front of their place and started
That was
mowing
theirs,
it.
wasn't it?
Well, no, but they're the
No, it
ones that were
wasn't.
complaining about it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, go ahead, Redmond.
Well, yeah. So going from that, the good news is IDOT is going to be continuing to pay for the relocation of the utilities. They're still sticking with that story. So we're getting information to them on the resolution that passed. I sent that over today, and we're going to start working once Kevin gets back on the utility agreement. So that should be coming in the next couple cycles. Once we get that agreement locked down, then it's real. They're actually going to be paying it for that relocation. Also, there was a nuisance abatement conference that we missed last year because it got booked up so fast. It's going to be in Iowa City, May 15th. And I really think we should try and get folks there. At least a person representative from council, at least one, maybe two.
So I would suggest that we try to get the mayor to go so we can keep him out of the clink. And
Is there a fee? Because you guys are paying the fee if I'm going to that. And my mileage.
But as far as a council person goes, if he needed one person, now if somebody else wants to do it, they're
I'll go.
more
I
than
will
welcome
go.
to. But I'd be willing to go.
Okay.
May 15th, during the day.
So we got some spots in there because I had complained about missing it last year, and they haven't opened it up yet. So we got early spots in there. So
You got two of us.
Chance. All right, sweet. Got it.
Often they talk about bigger nuisances like
Are you gonna be an
factories
example?
or dilapidated. They may talk about being in a bigger city like that, which doesn't really pertain to us, but it's still good stuff.
You might be
Well,
an example.
apparently Clinton is
Feel that?
doing
Give
some
us story.
phenomenal things, and they've even done some claiming property stuff that if they've had problems getting, and they've been doing real good at that. So we've been looking at Clinton's ordinance, and hopefully they'll have some case studies there too that talks about the stuff that Clinton's been doing. So. I don't think we're going to hear about it, but I have gotten a parking complaint about 2nd and Maple. Trucks having hard times turning into Maple, getting to the businesses in the Cookson industrial area. So
Semi-trucks?
Semi-trucks and delivery trucks as well.
They've been doing that for 40 years.
So I don't know. I did go
Shouldn't be a
out
problem.
and take a look. So there's obviously on the north side there's parking. On the south side there's no parking.
So someone called and complained?
Yeah, a couple businesses, more than one.
Interesting.
So there may be. I'm gonna take a look now. We've already ordinance requires us to have 10 feet from the stop sign, no parking. We got 20 now. Maybe making that a little longer, maybe 30. I don't know, but it might be that, or it might be the fact that we had snow built up on the side of the road and it didn't maybe
I could see that.
cause
Yeah.
people to turn.
I wouldn't do a
radius.
thing about it until the snow's gone now. That hasn't been a problem for 40 years.
The problem used to be on 2nd and,
That little short street?
yeah,
What's the name of that street? Cedar?
Cedar? They'd come up 2nd and take the corner and go through that
Neighborhood.
lady's flower bed all the time. But I think, wasn't a post put in there or something?
There's still an issue
No?
with it because there's parking.
They still do?
Because there's parking on the south side of the street.
Cedar, yeah.
So they can't swing it on Cedar.
Then why don't they just go down Second?
So, all right, well, we'll have to look at that. I don't know what the solution is yet, but they seem to be pretty motivated about it and said they were going to come to council, and I kind of talked to them a bit. So I don't know how long I can stem the tide on that, but I'm not sure yet.
I don't know what we could do
Not sure
different
yet.
than,
Yeah, I mean, 20 foot fairly reasonable,
What
I
are they
would
looking
say.
for us to change ordinance on parking on the other side?
Yeah, I mean, maybe another 10 feet would do.
The complaints I heard before was about Cedar, that they shouldn't have parking from the corner back to the alley, which would be the driveway right before the alley, that whole area.
That's
A lot of them
doable.
have told
That
me
might be
that shouldn't
feasible.
be parking. It's basically parking for the one house.
That one house on the corner.
Second and Cedar is who parks there.
We could change that.
You should just send them down to Main Street, driving through a neighborhood. You should just advise it by putting up a sign that says no truck.
There you go.
And then they don't have to go on Cedar.
Well,
Then they can figure out how to turn on the main off of Parkside. That's its
Well, we
own
don't
set
want
of
to,
headaches.
if there's businesses down there, I mean, we don't want to,
Yeah, but you don't really want trucks running through a residential neighborhood either to try to get to
so
it.
they can go down to Main or through. the
Yeah, that's on
parking
Cedar,
lot.
this is on Maple.
Yeah, it's on Maple.
Yeah, Maple.
Yeah, I don't know how else the way to get there.
There's no
They don't-
other
There's
way
no
back
way
there.
other-
there's no
there's
other
no
way
other
to
way.
get there besides Maple.
Until the,
Until the Cooley property
Yeah.
ends, and then they can come, well, they
I
can
don't
come
know
down
if we
second,
want that
and then,
Yeah,
they're still
but-
gonna, they're still
They
gonna
still
go
have
down
to go
Maple.
second to Maple,
Yeah.
because
But
the
you
only
can
connection
keep
them
is
off
going
of
second
Cedar,
down.
Yeah,
What I was
You
talking
keep
about
them off
was
of
keeping
Cedar
them,
that
keeping
way.
them off of Cedar.
yeah.
well, just, I'd let it ride, and if they continue to complain, they can come and talk to us.
Okay.
Maybe they could offer up a solution,
Yeah. Yeah.
if they're the businesses or the truck drivers.
I guess
Yeah,
it's
we
parking
got
on
4
the south
acres in
side.
the industrial park that we need to sell, maybe we can move them over there.
Maybe they should get some better.
There we go.
So,
Okay, what else you got, Randy?
last thing I wanted to bring everybody's attention to is we got a joint meeting with school board set up, April 15th. So we usually we meet earlier, have the joint meeting, usually that goes around an hour, and then we adjourn and then pick up our regular meeting after that. So 6 p.m.,
Six.
April 15th.
6 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay,
Now, if there's any items that you want to cover, because we haven't set the agenda yet, I'm meeting with Marty to do that, but if there's any items that the council wants to talk about, there's, I guess, maybe Poplar Street, that we might want to talk about. I think there's a proposal that Marty has proposed to the city that we maybe take care of some of the school grounds in the form of grass cutting for the money that we have budgeted and owe them and planned on paying out. I think it was $40,000.
I'm not a fan of that proposal.
$50,000.
We
So-
don't want to mow the school's lawn, in my mind.
No, we have a hard enough
I
time.
can't see it.
Taking care of our home.
Once
So-
connected.
It's at least a discussion item.
We're already doing the
I
library.
think he wants to talk about that. We
Okay.
reviewed it, and
And I mean, I guess.
under
Then we're gonna
right
have the
circumstances, we think we can do it.
Diamonds to do and everything
I know, we
else
got-
out there.
We got some learning curve to catch
Is
up
it
on.
just to take care of a certain amount of what we owe them for this?
Yeah,
So like once we reach that amount, we wouldn't mow it anymore?
it's, so, yes, that's one of the things he offered, just for a short period of time.
Kind of like washing the dishes.
But
in
then
the
he
restaurant.
also kind of hinted that maybe it could be something more long-term. So that's something that we would probably need to hammer out.
I'd have to
But
see where it is. It's the extra 10 feet next to the library.
No, I think it's talking about like doing the high school.
Oh, he's talking about
and
doing the.
I
all
think
that.
so.
Yeah.
No.
yeah,
They pay a lot of
Being
money.
their yard guy.
I guess I'd
My
like
wife
to
is
make sure they
$50,000 off,
discuss
Maybe.
what their
It would cost us 50 grand.
Yeah.
goals are, like their budget and their goals since Hatfield has left. I know he kind of set, like he had a timeline and I don't know if that's changed with the new superintendent,
A timeline
uh,
for,
their improvements.
there's a timeline.
I know, but I don't know if it's changed since new superintendent,
It's
what they've
moving
discussed.
ahead, actually.
There's something I
Yeah, he could tell us all about that.
completely, yeah.
okay.
Where their funding is all, yeah, I
He's
don't know
got
what
a
they-
lot to tell us.
Yeah.
That we could know. The facilities plan. Okay,
All right.
Kevin's out. Melissa.
I do have something. So I'm passing around, this is Operation Relief to DNR thing, where residents can order trees. We're discounted, I think it's $25, $30. So I'm giving you the 3 different locations. There's Marion, Iowa City, and Cedar Rapids. And residents can order from any of those locations. However, if they order from the Marion location, the pickup is April 20th. Public Works will go pick up the West Branch residents and deliver them here to town.
If it's Marion?
If it's a Marion location. So if they want to order a tree from the Marion location, and that's the first one on your site, you need a sheet. Public Works will go pick it up.
So what are we to do with this?
So this is on the website. So this is your, you don't have to do anything with it.
Oh, okay.
It's all information. The information's on the website, so residents click out, send in the form, pay their fee to, what is the first one, Lynn County, if that's where they want to get their tree from, and put in their order, and I'll contact them at the end of after April 13th.
This is a great program.
This is an awesome
This
program.
is a free tree, man.
Yeah, we use it a lot.
If I buy a tree, will they not raise my bill 17%?
Well, I can't fix that, but
You
I
plant a
was.
shade tree. You plant a shade tree.
So if
That's
somebody.
the whole point.
So if somebody wanted to order a tree from the Iowa City location, they could absolutely do that. It's nothing, it's just as a convenience factor. Matt and I talked about it, and the Marion location had the biggest variety and kind of what we thought would be great additions to some of the residents' yards, and so there we go. If they have questions, they can contact me too. It's all on the website. They need to send in the form and the payment to whoever on that form, not to the city. Not to.
Okay.
They're, I think for $25.
$25
$25 bucks. Yeah.
There's a full variety.
We have to pick up it.
Anything else?
I
Anybody?
have one question.
Yeah.
Just because I saw it in the report that they checked on the concession stand. I don't know if Matt did or how's that look?
I did.
They had drill up, they were getting ready to mud when I was out there last Monday, I'm not sure how far they are.
Okay. No, I was just curious. I hadn't kind of poked my head in.
That's what I saw too. the drywall.
It's a soggy mess.
That's why I haven't gone out and checked lately. But I figured you guys.
I'm expecting some action there.
Yeah, we'll
Soon.
have those change orders come in next cycle too, so.
Change orders for what?
Oh, you know, the timeline stuff from Needham.
We approved a change order for the trenching, right? For the tile work? Yeah, we did. We just
Yeah.
want them to do the work now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's terrible too. There's a bunch of water coming across every
Yeah,
street.
it's softer
road
now.
over there.
Okay, anything else? I got Kroll site. I think Bruce Barnhart said as soon as the frost is out of the ground, he can start chipping up that concrete. He's gonna be busy. I don't know how he's gonna do it, because he's got 2 or 3 developments to do. But,
It's not our fault. It's Bruce's, right?
Yeah.
so we have some developers who want that gravel.
So he better get it done.
We got 2 developers that want that gravel by the end of May, maybe, April, the end of May. So he's got an incentive to get moving on it.
Are we selling that?
Yes, and we need to keep track of what we sell because, or what gets repurposed, because it can count as credits toward our contribution to the grant. The grant is, if we get it, is $50,000. Right? I think it was 50,000. We might be on the hook for 75. But the estimates shouldn't be that much. It shouldn't be 125,000 to tear down
Especially if we take a building.
crappy
off
old
of it.
building. Or we gotta start abating we need to abate the lead and the asbestos. So maybe we should call those 3 companies she had listed and get kind of not hire them yet, but get them in the loop to think about getting on their schedule. If we get this grant, I'd like to jump on it right away and get moving on it.
So we got, if somebody wants the metal building,
Yeah.
could we burn the other one?
Have to strip all that tar off that roof. That crappy. Could be done. Have to talk to Kevin.
I was like, could they use it as a training experience?
You have to send the
It's-
shingles in and be tested, and we can only have so many burns, building burns a year. You need to talk to Kelvin
Okay.
about it.
That'd reduce it to one dumpster pretty quickly instead of 10 truckloads.
We would have to send out notices to the
Resident,
residents and everything that it was gonna be burned
I'll
on a
talk to
certain
Kelvin.
day, and
And I don't know
Keep
what
their
has to be
windows
removed
shut.
ahead of time. We'd have to hire somebody to remove the roof
Maybe.
and maybe the metal. Well, I don't know about the side metal. It might have lead paint on it. No, it doesn't. Okay, good point. I don't have anything else. Anybody else?
I need a tablet.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
Okay.
I think we're gonna have to purchase you one because Nick's having a hard time trying to get that one repaired, so. With the tablets, the way they are now, how much they cost, it's gonna be cheaper to just buy a new one.
Is there anything
Well, I
like
don't-
to like?
Exactly,
all-around
why can't,
upgrade?
I mean,
It was
they
on
were
one of our
only
goals.
like
I think we
I
killed
know
it. We killed it.
we've kept removing it, but
Yeah.
if hers completely kaputted, is there something we can do?
Why, I mean, they're only like what do you say,
Because mine's not. I
$150?
have to get on the city website.
Why don't
now
we
to
just
download
buy 'em?
my
I do too.
agenda.
I do.
Are you having a hard time with yours? See,
It doesn't download anything.
It doesn't
for me,
download, yeah.
But I just use it
Mine
on
does.
the website.
Mine doesn't. I have to get on the website. And
so
have
there's
it.
been problems throughout. Yours just got to the point where it's just totally gone.
I think after they were a year old, they started.
We were talking about replacing them before. Maybe, we should just,
If we can get a deal.
Can we get a fund going to replace
Well,
it?
it'll just come out of the
General
budget. I
fund.
mean, we'll pay for it no matter what. It's not gonna be
I mean, why
more
buy
than
one?
$1,000.
yeah,
By
that's,
6.
I agree. That's
$1,200.
what I
If they're
suggested.
all having issues, you might as
Yeah.
well.
But if we do this, I think we need a spare. I mean,
In case you
I think
break
we
it?
do it.
Get one for parts.
All right.
no.
This is your spare. That's what I tell my kids. I'm not buying insurance on your phone because you got one in. We got 5 other phones. Anyway.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yeah.
Congratulations on Gibson Train.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. You can tell. You can tell.
Gibson Train's got the Main Street, Iowa Leadership Award for West Branch.
Oh, there you
And
go.
that was last Friday. It was the 8th,
Yeah.
is that right?
Yeah.
The 8th of March.
Very cool.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
And
And
Rogers got a
Kevin Rogers was.
Hero Award for the work he had done with West Branch.
He worked so hard.
And the Groom Station was nominated for Business of the Year. They did not win that competition, but they were a nomination.
Very nice. Congratulations.
We'll get you on an agenda sometime in April, I suppose, to give us an update on what you're doing.
Okay.
Not the 16th, though. We're busy that day.
Just one more little thing
Go ahead.
that this whole thing reminded me of. Wanted to give thanks to the Kofo family for donating, was it $3,000? $3,100
Defibrillator?
for defibrillator and CPR training and other equipment, that anti dowels and all those other things that you need for CPR training. So I wanted to catch him while he was here, but I did want to, at least for the television cameras, to say thank you for
Okay.
that donation.
Maybe we should write him a letter. I
Yes.
should come up with a
Well, I
letter.
know a letter has been written, but we can certainly write a letter as well. PD has written a letter.
Okay. We need to schedule a review for you sometime
I think it comes in
April.
June.
June.
June? Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Motion to adjourn, anyone? Jordan and Nick? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're going